Welcome to BharatLens, and today we are covering a story that will directly affect the price you pay for petrol, cooking gas, and everything that gets transported by a truck in this country. April 28, 2026. The United Arab Emirates, one of the most powerful members of OPEC for the last 59 years, just announced that it is quitting the organization. Effective May 1st. 3 days from now. The UAE announced its decision to quit OPEC and OPEC Plus to focus on national interests, dealing a heavy blow to the oil exporting groups at a time when the US-Israel war on Iran has caused a historic energy shock and rattled the global economy. The world is shocked. Energy markets are scrambling. Saudi Arabia is quietly furious. And India, 1.4 billion people who import over 85% of their oil, is watching very carefully. Today we break down everything. What OPEC actually is. Why the UAE left. What this does to the world's most powerful oil cartel. And most importantly, is this good or bad for India? Because the answer is more interesting than you think. Before we get into the UAE's exit, let us quickly understand what OPEC actually is and why it has the power to determine what you pay at the pump. OPEC stands for the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries. It was founded in 1960 by 5 countries: Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela. Today it has 12 member nations. OPEC Plus is the broader alliance that includes Russia and several other non-OPEC producers. The cartel collectively accounts for 36% of the world's oil production and together controls almost 80% of the world's total proven oil reserves. Business today, think about that number. 80% of all the oil proven to exist underground, controlled by one cartel. This is why OPEC has been called the most powerful economic organization in human history. How does it work? Twice a year, OPEC energy ministers sit together in Vienna and decide how much oil they will collectively produce. When they want prices to rise, they cut production, creating artificial scarcity. When prices are too high and economic damage becomes a concern, they increase production, releasing more supply. This on-off switch over 80% of global reserves is the most powerful price lever in the world economy. Every time OPEC cuts production, Indian petrol prices go up. Every time OPEC pumps more, Indian petrol prices ease. 1.4 billion Indians are directly impacted by decisions made in a conference room in Vienna by men from countries most Indians have never visited. Last year, OPEC brought in $455 billion worth of oil sales. The UAE alone was responsible for $77 billion of that, just under 17%. Business today now that 17% just walked out the door. And the entire global energy order is shifting as a result. The UAE's official statement was diplomatic and polite. It spoke about national interests, long-term strategic vision, and evolving energy profiles. But the real reasons are far more interesting. Reason 1, the quota straitjacket. The UAE has long chafed under years of oil production cuts led by the Saudis to support prices. It has watched as Iraq and OPEC Plus member Russia have routinely exceeded their quotas without consequence. Geopolitical monitor: the UAE wanted higher OPEC production quotas because it has the capacity to produce much more oil than it is currently allowed to produce. The quotas had capped its output at around 3.2 million barrels per day, while the UAE has the ambition to achieve 5 million barrels per day of capacity by 2027. Business today: in plain terms, the UAE has invested billions of dollars expanding its oil production infrastructure. But OPEC's quota system was blocking it from pumping that oil and selling it. The UAE was sitting on capacity it could not use. Every day of restriction was a day of lost revenue. Reason 2, Iran attacked the UAE. This is the most dramatic reason, and the one that tipped the final decision. The shock announcement came after the UAE was the target of missile and drone attacks for weeks by fellow OPEC member Iran. Tehran's attacks on shipping in the Strait of Hormuz severely constrained the UAE's ability to export oil, threatening the foundation of its economy. The Tribune: think about this extraordinary situation. The UAE and Iran were sitting in the same organization, ostensibly partners coordinating oil policy, while Iran was simultaneously firing missiles and drones at UAE ships and infrastructure. The UAE was expected to sit in OPEC meetings with the same country that was attacking it. The exit was not just economic. It was a statement of complete geopolitical separation from Tehran. Reason 3, the Saudi Arabia rivalry. The UAE's exit is the culmination of years of tension with OPEC leader Saudi Arabia, both over oil output policy and competition for regional political influence. Additionally, the UAE and Saudi Arabia have increasingly competed over economic issues and regional politics, particularly in the Red Sea area. The Quint Mohammed bin Zayed, the UAE's leader, and Mohammed bin Salman, Saudi Arabia's crown prince, have been in a quiet but intense competition for regional supremacy. Both want to be the dominant Gulf power. Both want to attract foreign investment, diversify their economies, and define the future of the Arab world. Leaving OPEC is the UAE saying clearly, Abu Dhabi does not need Riyadh's permission to run its own energy policy. The UAE energy minister, however, denied any dispute, saying the decision has nothing to do with any friends or brothers within the group, and that they have the highest respect for the Saudis for leading OPEC. The Tribune diplomatic language. The rivalry is real. The UAE's exit is not just a loss of one member. It is a structural blow that could begin the slow unraveling of the world's most powerful energy cartel. The UAE's exit from OPEC will undermine the cartel's ability to influence the oil market. The UAE was second only to Saudi Arabia when it comes to spare production capacity, a crucial tool used to influence the market. The UAE's departure removes one of the core pillars underpinning OPEC's ability to manage the market. OPEC will become structurally weaker as a consequence. Geopolitical monitor and the UAE may not be the last to leave. An expert warned that the UAE's exit from OPEC Plus could prompt other members to follow suit in an effort to break from the cartel's production restrictions. Kazakhstan is another significant producer that wants to grow. It could be next. Business Today OPEC Plus's share of global oil output had already fallen to 44% in March from about 48% in February because of the Hormuz crisis, and is likely to fall further in April as production shut-ins become more pronounced, and then further still in May as the fourth biggest producer leaves the group. Bloomberg, a cartel that controls 44% of output, down from 80% of reserves, and is hemorrhaging members as a cartel in structural decline. For decades, OPEC was the price of everything. It may now be entering its final chapter. This is the question every Indian should be asking. And the answer is, mostly good. But with important complications. The good news for India. First, analysts say the UAE, after its exit from OPEC, will increase its crude oil production significantly, which could cool down global oil prices and help lower India's oil import bill. India spends hundreds of billions of dollars every year importing oil. Every dollar fall in the price of a barrel saves India enormous amounts of foreign exchange. Y1 News. Second, the UAE's decision is likely to have a beneficial impact on its ties with India, bringing the two countries closer, especially on the oil and gas front. The UAE is looking for more autonomy and focus on supplying oil to countries like India, which it has closer bilateral ties with. Bloomberg. Third, India is also indirectly affected positively because OPEC restrictions had applied to lower Zakkum, where Indian companies hold a 10% stake. With the UAE free from OPEC quotas, the asset can now produce more, generating more revenue for Indian companies. Al Jazeera. Fourth, the India-UAE Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, signed in 2022, has helped push bilateral trade beyond $100 billion. All leading state-owned Indian refiners including Indian Oil, Bharat Petroleum, and Hindustan Petroleum have been collaborating with ADNOC and other UAE-based companies on mega refining projects. A UAE free from OPEC quotas can deepen all of these arrangements without restriction. Al Jazeera. Fifth, one analyst put it directly, if OPEC and OPEC Plus weaken, countries including India, China, South Korea, and Japan will gain a lot. They will have more autonomy to build bridges, negotiate prices, and improve oil and gas supplies significantly. From India's point of view, this is a very good development. Bloomberg. But here is the complication. The immediate short-term picture is not straightforward. The Strait of Hormuz is still effectively blocked by the Iran war. The energy minister himself said the exit will have minimum impact on prices right now, because UAE cannot currently ship oil through Hormuz anyway. The Tribune. So the benefit to India from lower UAE prices is real, but delayed. It will only materialize fully once the Hormuz crisis resolves and UAE can actually pump and export those additional barrels freely. There is also significant risk of higher oil price volatility as a result of this decision. With OPEC weakened, the market loses a key stability mechanism, the ability to coordinate production responses to demand shocks. More volatility means more uncertainty for India's import bill planning. Here's the full picture. The UAE has walked away from 59 years of OPEC membership. It is free now, free to pump as much oil as it can produce, free to sell to whoever it wants, free to price that oil based on real market forces rather than cartel decisions made in Vienna. For OPEC, this is a structural wound. The second most influential member after Saudi Arabia has left. Kazakhstan is watching. Others may follow. The era of OPEC's unchallenged dominance over global energy prices may be entering its final chapter. For India, in the medium and long term, this is genuinely positive. A weaker OPEC means lower oil prices over time. A UAE free from quotas means more supply. A deeper India-UAE energy partnership means better deals, more direct supply, and less vulnerability to cartel decisions. For Indian households, the petrol price relief will not come tomorrow. It will come when Hormuz opens and the UAE begins producing at full capacity. But it is coming. The world that gave OPEC its power, a world of scarce oil, limited producers, and dependent consumers, is changing. And India, if it plays its cards right with the UAE, could emerge from this transition in a significantly stronger energy position than it has ever been in before. Comment below, do you think OPEC will survive this? And do you believe petrol prices will actually fall in India this year? Tell me your prediction.